Hey, this is Jane,
And I'm Ian.
and we're
Hey,
twin.
Twen, what's up? You're listening to the If Ever You're Listening podcast. Mwah.
In the current era of artist independence and DIY approaches to music careers, Twen is one of the most daring and fearless musicians out there. Led by Jane Fitzsimmons and Ian Jones, the rock band has established a name for themselves for their rhythmic guitars, unconventional melodies, and forward-thinking psych-pop sound. Their music immediately stands out for its grand yet dynamic sound. I heard this when I first played their latest album, Fate Euphoric. In our chat today, we dive into the making of the project and the way the two synergize to come up with the album songs. We also touch on their earlier albums and how the album making process has changed for them over the years. As DIY veterans, we discuss the freedoms and challenges that come along with having a music career without heavy label support. And of course, we discuss their nomadic van assisted lifestyle. For all you musicians out there, this will be an exceptionally insightful conversation about the true work necessary to be a self sufficient and successful artist in today's music industry. Jane and Ian are also just really cool people and fun to talk to. So hopefully, a lot of that comes through in the conversation. And it was a true pleasure and honor to speak with them. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the If Ever You're Listening podcast. I'm your host, Stanley C. And today we have some DIY icons, Jane and Ian from the band Twen. So
What's
thank you both for
up?
being here
What's
today.
up?
It's an honor.
Thanks for
Oh,
hitting us up.
yeah, so happy to be here.
Well, we have a lot to cover. We have a new album out last month. But before we get into the new album, there's a tour coming up. I really want to talk about the beginning of your music journeys, kind of individually. Tell me, when did music and you like find each other? And then when did you both find each other?
Oh, oh, yeah.
Me
I think you
first.
should start first because yours goes back farther.
Yeah. I've always just it was like just as a kid, there was a guitar in my house because my dad was like an amateur musician. So there was a guitar sitting around and just picked it up very early on and just kind of I've always pursued this path just because I didn't want to work a real job. I did work some real jobs that were backbreaking labor
Some
in
intense
my
one.
teenage years. And I learned early on what it meant to give your body for an hourly wage. So I kind of made it a determination probably around age 17 or 18 that I wasn't going to do that and I was going to make music work. And that's it in a nutshell.
Some
Yeah.
Dickensian jobs, like
Yeah.
pulling nails out of wood and
Yeah,
stuff.
just like
Okay.
work site stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like cutting floorboards and things like this. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, mine is much closer to today. I never did music until I was in college.
Wow.
So I was actually on the track to do science, and that's what I went to college for, was for astrophysics. That's what I had always wanted to do, and that's what brought me to Boston University. And then I made my way into this like just college band, like stupid dorm room
It
singing
wasn't
in a
stupid,
dorm
but
room kind of thing. And then we have a band, you play at the student union and you play it at like the most random places on campus. And I loved it so much. And I was also doing graphic design for bands that it kind of like took over. I was like, you can't do both, especially if you're in science. You have to be like kind of all in. So I was like, this probably isn't best for what I'm naturally doing. And then I switched to graphic design and just did the band full time. But of course, like any college band, it dramatically ended
Yep.
in tears and heartache, awful things.
you're
And
22, you don't know who you are, you
oh,
don't know who your
yeah.
roommates are. It all breaks up upon graduation.
And I once it ended, I kind of was doing some like pretty serious corporate design stuff. And I was so sad without the band in my life. And so that's how me and Ian was in a band in college that did much better than mine, and also ended in heartache and drama, but a different, like the boy band version,
Yeah.
and the all boy band version. And uh, since they kind of broke up around the same time, I had moved away. I didn't know what I was going to do. And then we started writing like over the phone, like sending voice memos. And it was working. And luckily, we had known each other and like been together for I don't even know how many years before that
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
started. So there was like a foundation there that wasn't based just on music though obviously we were both like in the scene. And then we're like, okay, let's do this band thing for real. And then that's how Twen started.
Yeah. So you
How?
kind of have like me, I'm just trying to skate by through this life, through this mortal coil,
Yep.
doing the least amount of real work as possible, and trying to make a living at it. And Jane was Jane's a real person. Yeah.
No, it more
So
feels like it haunted me. Like I couldn't be happy without doing it. I was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Like therapy, all these things, like what is wrong with me? And then once I just started doing music full time, there it is.
yeah,
Like that was the
I think we
problem.
both find meaning in creating something direct, that's very direct from us.
Yeah.
I will add to your answer because you left out a couple crucial details. We
Oh,
met because I was invited to be a bass player in her
oh,
college band.
it's true.
And then when we started hooking up,
Kicked him
I got kicked
out.
out, and then I joined my own band, and then those bands both broke up. And once they broke up, then we decided, oh well, it's been 4 or 5 years since we made music together. We can start this
Yeah.
project and do it for all the right reasons and make sure it's just about having fun. And
Forget about
yeah,
that part. Yeah.
Oh,
so.
that's amazing.
So
Okay.
music we met through music, but
Yeah.
then the first 4 or 5 years of us being together was not based around music. So,
No.
yeah,
Which I think
was
was
kind of
good
cool. Yeah.
because I can't imagine it all being wrapped up together. It's nice to have just like a foundation of something else that you connect with that isn't just like the music
Yeah,
and
being
the
in a band
business.
together.
Yeah.
Seriously. No, that's amazing. And I'm so curious, is the music that you guys are making separately in your own bands different? Like, what's the sound like in these different bands? Does it have overlays with Twen or?
Uh,
I
I
I
think
I
there's overlays, but I think it's all a product. Those were democratic bands. So they were
Mhm.
bands that, was all members were having input, and that is an alchemy that will create, who knows what. So mine was more like twee.
Right.
I don't even
yeah,
know,
this
but
is the
we were
year. The
split.
years would have been like
The
2012 to 2016.
the
Oh,
dark, the
So
dark culture.
these were
Dark
not.
rough times.
culture.
This may have been the worst 5 years in music history
You can
ever.
say indie sleaze all you want, but it was fucking dark.
I mean, you're talking about Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros and Mumford and Sons and all that crap. So my group was kind of like a folk rock band.
They were my like
Mhm.
Americana before. I feel
Yeah.
like people even were saying Americana, that kind of
God.
thing.
I don't know.
Feather in your cap,
Yeah.
baby.
It was good though.
And then
Sorry.
mine like was I don't even kind of twee jokey songs that like collegey, I don't know,
Yeah, but
crap.
kind of
It
rocky.
knocked a little bit.
Yeah.
There was a viola in it. There was
Oh,
a glockenspiel in it at one point to give you a
I could
fucking
see it.
picture. It isn't something I'm exactly proud of, but you have to start somewhere.
You're like
Yeah.
we're both late bloomers, so it took
Yeah.
us a long time to kind
I
of.
was not cool in high school, and I could barely say I was cool in college. I feel like I only got my
That's not
shit
true.
sorted later.
I feel like we're all part of the same generation because 2016, 2012 to 2016 were my college years. So
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I remember that distinctly, and it was a lot of like Ho Hey,
yeah,
Mumford
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Sons.
And
Um,
the fashion sucked. Like
it
I
was
don't
just
care what the Gen Z is like finding in that era. Like it sucked, and I knew it sucked. Like I was conscious of like the '90s and the early 2000s and everything at that time, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, we are really at a low point right now, and it sucks because like I'm in my youth. I'm like 20 years old, and everything around me just looks like a
You're trying to
barren
make it
desert.
work, but it's
It
difficult.
sucked,
Yeah.
man.
That's if you like rewatch Girls or something,
I was
and
like,
you're
where
just
did
like,
all the
what
baggy
is
fucking
everyone looking like? They look cool.
Nobody's wearing anything baggy and it sucks. Like
Yeah,
bring
it's
baggy
not
back.
good.
Bring swag back. It
and
was
and Baggy's back in full
Oh,
form
thank
now.
God.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
God,
yeah.
we all look great.
Yeah, it's like super bag. I feel like it's 1999.
Yeah.
Okay, I love where we're at right now. Okay, so take me, you guys unite. You're like, this is a band. We're doing this. Take me up until you get to the debut album, One Stop Shop, because we have years of space now. So talk
Yeah.
to me, like what were maybe some highlights? What were some challenges? How did you overcome those to create the distinctive sound that you have now?
Well, coming from the step one was to get out of Boston because we at least there's like Boston is a very funny music scene, and I don't know exactly what's going on right now, but it feels very college because of the amount of colleges that are in that city. And it was where the neighborhood we were living in, it's Alston, which is a very like I ran a basement venue. Like there was basement shows all the time, which was awesome, but you kind of it has a limit, at least for me, where I was like, I only want to do this for a little bit of time.
I mean, yeah, we'd been playing in basements in Boston, in Allston for 4 years, and like
You're
we
like,
would play local bars and stuff, and like we were doing it on in either of our bands, but we could see that okay, we're graduating now,
yeah.
we're getting into our early 20s. If we want to, you got to go where it happens. So
Well, I
we were
think
like,
we
should
had
we go
it,
to New York? Should we go to
yeah.
LA? Should we go to Nashville?
We
Like,
had an ambition, I suppose, just to like do it for if you're gonna do it, like try to do it the best you can do it. And touring was definitely on our radar. Ian had always wanted to tour, and I feel like it was a hard part with his old band to get them to tour.
yeah.
And Boston just has its own like insular vibe. Like they have their own music awards. Like it's kind of this own like little bubble, it feels, at least at that time.
So we wanted to get out,
Yeah.
and we
So
were like, okay, Jane's family's from St. Louis. We could try Nashville. We'd be closer to Jane's
yeah, I'm
family.
Midwest anyway. So
Um,
that was like, well, I'm closer to home. It's only a 5 hour drive. I can
and
visit.
she had nieces and nephews and stuff that were
Yeah.
being born and growing up, so we wanted to be close to that.
So, and we could have a yard and we were like, what? Like coming from Boston. So we moved there and we kind of had like a couple people that were just in like the houses near us in Alston that like knew we were writing music and kind of like literally heard it like through the floors and like through the walls and we're like, can I be involved in that? And then we were like, well, we're moving, and they moved with us.
Because they had
So
just graduated
and
too.
everyone was like, it was the years of like, I don't know what to fucking do. And so everyone was just willing to do everything. And whether that was a good thing or a bad thing, who's to say? Because we all kind of just literally started to live in a house together in Nashville, and that's what made it like livable and affordable. But I Ian had maybe known some of them a little bit longer. I didn't know them as longer. And then it was like, okay, like we're in it and there's not really a way out. So being all living at the same place, we were like, we want to start touring immediately. And we did DIY touring. And luckily, since I had been running a basement venue, and we knew like how that world works, there used to be a website. Do you remember what it was called? It was like DIY
Ooh, what was that?
something.
It was like a Craigslist kind
It
of
was specifically for basement venues.
Nice.
And it would list all like or house venues, like warehouses, whatever. This was pre 2016.
Gotcha.
So, because in 2016, I think what happened, which changed this, was the fire in Oakland at a warehouse that changed like kind of the legalness of things, where like police cracked down on basement and house venues everywhere. So it like I don't know if there's a correlation to the site going down at that same time, but it did. So that's how we toured throughout Nashville when we like first moved there. We didn't have we had a recorded EP that was from our first show, and that's it. And we just were like, we're just gonna tour as much as possible in like the grossest places of all time, sleeping on floors, like whatever, and we would call it touring.
Yeah, and that was the sort of thing where like yeah, you'd book gigs through whatever that website was and Facebook, like that.
Yeah,
Not even really Instagram at that point. But
no.
and then you'd get you'd be in a basement on stage, and you'd be like, hey, we don't have a place to crash tonight. Anybody want to put us up? And then you'd go stay at a stranger's house. Just crazy shit to think about it
Which
now.
I know, which sometimes led to like amazing friends and like cool stuff, but then also, you get
Some crazy shit,
your
yeah.
cat piss is always really, really the
Yeah.
cat piss. That's the thing.
Yeah, some
Uh,
really grotty,
or some
really
like
grotty pieces.
freaky things. I remember the guy that looked like
I think I
what's his name? Tom
Yeah,
Waits.
there was like a Tom Waits lookalike, and he thought we didn't know who Tom Waits was, so he thought he was like a little interesting. But it's like, dude, this
But the
guy
house
fucking
was
like Tom
intense.
Waits,
Yeah, I know.
and he was doing the hat thing, and it's
Yeah.
fucking weird, man. Columbus, yeah, I
Fun.
think. But I just want to tidy that up a
Yeah.
bit. So
Cinch it up, bring us back
yeah,
home.
we started the band in late 2016, maybe in the summer of 2016. Then by fall 2016, we were moving to Nashville with a recorded EP from our first show that we played in Boston. I'm trying to make this narrative tidier.
Good.
And we moved to Nashville the week Trump got elected.
Yeah, which is a bummer.
So that was November 2016.
Gotcha.
So And then the Oakland fire happened, and then all these DIY venues kind of shut down. So
I know
then,
we made it to like one or two house shows in Nashville, and we were
yeah,
like, "Whoa, it's so cool!" Like there was one called the Glass Menagerie, and we were like,
the
"Wow!" They
last
had like a
Menage.
bar,
Yeah,
oh, Menage, yeah.
yeah.
And those all had, and within like a couple weeks of us moving there, they all like shut down, which
Wow.
was a bummer because we were like, "Oh, this is the only way how we know how to like meet people and be in a scene is through these like DIY shows."
But then by January of 2017, we were booking like weekend tours outside, in Missouri or Illinois, just kind of using
Kentucky,
Nashville as a
yeah,
focal point to tour out of for small stints,
yeah,
and a 3 week, run or a 3 day weekender turned into 2 or 3 day
yeah,
weekenders into a week long tour into a month long tour, and we were just trying to do gigs every month, and we got nice and buzzy in Nashville, and then we got picked up by a producer and a
hmm
lawyer, and then they started roping in some small indie record labels
yeah.
trying to get
Since
us
we're
hooked
like
up.
a new band in Nashville,
And
like
we were bringing kind of
new,
like we were
yeah,
bringing a Boston kind of basement punk thing to Nashville, so they thought we were very novel and
right.
exciting,
Since we
and
had no country
yeah.
influence, that was very like
Yeah.
novel to us.
We were not doing like the singer-songwriter thing. So I feel
Mhm.
like we got a little bit buzzy, and to keep this short and tidy, I feel
I don't know
like
what happened.
we got signed to a label in New York after a long time. Um
Yeah.
a lot,
Just for
yeah,
the
just
music biz, slog, like you kind of just get swooped up into it.
there was like a kind of a bidding war with a bunch of booking agencies with us. So
Hilarious to think about.
and
But at that
managers,
time,
and just like yeah, we were like 24 or whatever, and just like having all these managers fly out and wine and dine us and all this crap. So it
yeah,
was like we really got a glimpse into like, oh man, something's happening, and oh, the music business likes
right.
us, and blah 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 blah. And then all this would come around to be like, fuck all that shit, we're just gonna do it
Yeah.
out on our own
But
label. And
at the time, it was at least validating where if you're doing something that you start in basements and you're like, okay, maybe I should keep doing this. Like, because I think always you're like, should I be, though you feel compelled to, and you're like, it would take a lot to make me stop. It gives you some like, oh, okay, like I'm a real band or something that if you're getting that attention. And then at that time, we got a couple national tours. Ron Gallo was like our first support tour. It was like first of three,
Wow.
actually.
yeah,
Like getting
it was
paid
us, the Ned
shit, but
Party, and
we
him.
but we
Yeah.
didn't care. And we were like, oh my God, take us to California because it was going places that it was a little too far for us to handle, and we didn't know people out there.
Hmm.
So we were able to do that for the first time, and that coincided with us like moving out of our apartment because we kind of were getting kicked out to begin with because we were Airbnb-ing it while we were touring, which we weren't supposed to do. But it made it financially work to DIY tour, like you had to get money wherever you could. And then we just moved out of the house completely, put everything in a storage unit, and we're like, we'll just be nomadic. And that's what started the like nomadic journey at that same time.
Yeah.
That's
The
But I
God.
think that sums it up.
I,
God bless you. I feel like we've been
yeah.
talking
That
for a long
was
time
no, that
now.
was a smooth because I had my next question was about the nomadic lifestyle. Yeah, I
Oh,
Yeah,
said
the nomadic lifestyle thing has always just been about us lowering our overhead costs so
God,
that we can pursue music full time, so we don't have to work real jobs. Again, we're
God.
just trying to skate by.
well, and
Right.
touring
Yeah.
but did you have an actual question? That's
The you guys are the formal question is what motivated you to adopt the lifestyle and what are your favorite places to live at on the road?
Mm.
Oh. Yeah, well, that was definitely the motivation. It was like, hey, if we're already going to go on a month-long tour, why
Mhm.
are you paying rent? And then when you are on tour, I think you get the sense of like, I don't miss any of the stuff I have at home. Like you don't miss it at all. And it feels like a burden, and it starts to more feel like a burden. So when we put it in a storage unit thinking, oh, maybe this is just temporary, we'll like find another place.
You'd come back from tour
We
and
like
look at your storage unit and be like, what the fuck do I do with all this
disappear.
shit?
So we just started selling all of it, and that takes a decent amount of time. And I think anyone who does van life or any kind of like nomadic style, like that, the process of shedding stuff takes
A
its own,
couple of years,
yeah. So
two
I
or
think
three
that took
years.
at least a year just to get rid of everything properly and like sell it or like not just put it in a landfill or something. And then
It was just necessity. It was like we want to do this band full time. We want to tour. We want to be thinking about music, not about bar jobs and coffee jobs
Yeah,
and side hustles.
I didn't think
So
about
let's
that.
lower our overhead. We'll move, we'll dog sit, we'll house sit, we'll, depending on where our tours end, we'll stay at friends'
Like
houses or whatever.
hustle in the ways that we liked to hustle,
Just
that you could
scrap,
also be writing or also be doing something for the band.
you
Just
know.
anything that you could like put all of your energy or money into the band.
So we haven't
So,
paid rent. We haven't paid a monthly rent since 2018.
which I
And
think is like our superpower because I don't know exactly if you think about how much rent depends on what city, how much rent that would have been from then until now. That's like I don't
yeah,
even, is
ungodly
that like a
amounts of
hundred
money.
thousand dollars or something? It's crazy. So that alone has been why we've been able to do stuff. But all over for a
Like we
place.
were never bankrolled. It was always about lowering the overhead and then taking that money that you would otherwise have to put into rent and just pouring it
Yeah,
back into the band.
love selling
So
stuff. And places because that was about where we like.
Yeah. Where like is
Um,
there certain places that are better to
what?
stay at than
yeah,
others?
Yeah,
it's
there's
definitely a
definitely
seasonal thing. Like we definitely
weather.
we follow the sun.
We
Ah,
do. We're like snowbirds right now, except for this winter. We're actually doing a winter, and we're like, I'm actually
It's been
sort
a
of
long time
enjoying
since
it,
we've done a
sort
winter,
of
so
enjoying it just because it feels novel right now. But
hmm.
and it's temporary. But Florida, we did a couple Florida tours when we were in that DIY phase, like because no one would go to Florida, and people were very grateful that we were coming, even as like a small band with nothing to show for ourselves, and we made so many friends there. So we've gone back there. The second we finished the band, we went to Florida and we went to St. Augustine.
Nice.
St. Augustine, Florida is on the Atlantic side. It's like 45 minutes south of Jacksonville, and it's like the oldest city in the US. So it's this like old fort from, 1570,
yeah, it
90s,
was a
something like
Spanish
that.
settlement. Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels very old and medieval, and it's kind of got a kitschy quality, and it's very lovely. So we love going there, but only in the winter.
Mm.
It's literally suffocating if we're there. We did like a June tour in Florida last year, and we're never doing
And
that
our
again.
bass players in Orlando.
Yeah,
We have friends in Tampa. We spent when we first built out the van during the pandemic, we went to Key West. That was the first place we went to
nice.
kind of like live in the
Yeah,
van. And that was really special. So we do that. And then I have family and a niece up in New England. So in the
yeah.
summer, we'll go up to the
Yeah, we have
mountains
some
where it's a
friends
little
in
bit
Maine,
cooler.
New
Yeah.
Hampshire, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. That's because since we went to school in Boston too, we have friends that live there. So yeah, it's just based on friends. We have some friends in Virginia. Like it's based on
House sits, somebody will hit us up and be like, "Hey, you want to watch my house?
yeah.
We're gonna be gone or whatever."
So
So
it's kind of more East Coast and Florida, Midwest, the whole this side,
yeah, New
Southeast.
England, St. Louis, Florida.
Yeah.
You can
And
more or less find us.
Southeast. Yeah.
Yeah,
Southeast. Well,
yeah,
that's why I started the saying you guys are like DIY icons because you really live it. I'm sure a lot of bands like aspirationally want to do that, but they don't actually do it.
yeah, yeah,
So to
yeah.
take
Right.
that extra step, I just want to give you guys a lot of praise and flowers for making that decision and then sticking to it for
Yeah.
years. It's not
Yeah.
And
easy.
also like not most like what we do does appear insane to a lot of people because like A, we're both doing the band.
Yeah.
We're the face of the band, and that allows it so that we're not like missing somebody back home, you know?
No, there,
Like
yeah, we
That's
love it on
important.
the road. Like, there's no, and it feels like our lives pay for themselves when we're on tour, and like we love the band and spending time with them. So it's like fun. We get
yeah,
to have our
there are
friends here,
friends. Yeah.
and obviously shows are fun and like meeting fans and stuff. So I have no problem being on tour. So that like schedule may look insane to someone else, but to us, we're like, hell yeah. And I feel like some people have the mentality of like, we got to get on the road and then we got to get off as quick as possible. So maybe you have less days off or like you don't
Yeah, and
see things.
yeah, as we've been in the game a lot longer now, a lot of people our age are starting to have kids or whatever, and they're like, okay, well, if I'm gonna go out, I want gigs every night, and then I want to get home to my family
Yeah.
because whereas that's not what we try and do. We try and build days off when we're on tours because we
Yeah.
want to see the country, we want to do fun things, we want to give those opportunities to our band members and the crew that we bring on
And
tour.
they're down
Like,
too. We've even asked them to be like, is that okay? And they're like, please,
yeah.
please put days off. Like we want to chill and like see
Like we
stuff.
love historical sites, we love national parks. We are baby boomer snowbirds, so it's
We do
Uh,
have a lot. You see a lot of people in the places we hang out when we're not on tour. It's like all
yeah.
baby
I
boomers
mean,
being like at Gettysburg in their RVs, and like we're also there, and we're like, hi.
Paducah, Kentucky, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, St. Augustine, Florida. Like
Yeah,
we
I
love these
know.
spots. Like I don't know if you've seen movies like just like classic old 60s and 70s road trip movies,
Oh
the Easy Riders and these very like romantic kind of like false ideas about life on the road,
Yep.
but they always are painted by these beautiful soundtracks and I try not to be romantic. I try and have my feet grounded in reality, but our life does, I tend to map that onto our life where it's like, that's the dream I'm chasing, and it's like
yeah,
by living in the van with Jane and us writing our songs, in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm living that movie. I'm
we're
living
trying.
that,
Yeah,
eat that
that's
Easy Rider
yeah,
movie.
and
Yeah.
it keeps things fresh if you're always moving around. Honestly, you can't like grow old bad
Yeah, the,
habits.
the the phrase of Rolling Stone gathers no moss is the truest statement
Yeah,
because it's like
knocks it
when
off.
we talk to our friends who work 9 to 5s and then they go on a trip and it's like they call psychedelic trips for a reason because like they do reset the grooves in your brain, you know?
Mhm.
And when you are living in a van, like I feel like we're all staying
The
fresh because
routine's always different, or like it'll be chunks of time. Like a month will be like very different in St. Augustine, Florida, if it'll be in Maine, if it'll be in St. Louis, or if it'll be like traveling around that whole time on tour. So it's like you knock things out in a good way.
yeah, I think like I hope that comes through our music.
I was gonna bring it to the music because not only do I now see that with the title of your first album, One Stop Shop, because it's almost like a play on going to
Yeah.
places and like being there for one stop, but
Yeah.
also like the music is very active, it's moving, it's very rhythmic, it's danceable, but because there's a sense of motion to it. I'm starting to see the connection. Is that on purpose? Kind of where do you find time to record, especially for that album, One Stop Shop?
That was recorded in a lot of different places, just like our latest one. So it's usually in like chunks where like you'll start to be like, okay, you usually have to set aside a chunk of time. I just view it as like these chunks of time, maybe like 2 to like 6 weeks or something, wherever you can get it, where you're not exactly moving, but it doesn't matter where you are. So whether you're in Florida or if you're at a house sit somewhere where you have a house where you can like put out all the amps and everything and be able to play a little bit more, or at like a friend's house or something. We've done every iteration. I can't really name a specific one, so it might be in these little chunks where you're doing like a writing chunk and then like a demoing and recording chunk, which are kind of sometimes the same thing, and then recording chunks, and they're all just in these different places, and usually separated by like a tour or by like having to travel somewhere for something else.
Yeah, I feel like I know Adrienne Lenker of Big Thief. I get the picture and I think I've heard her say or whatever. I'm a moderate Big Thief fan, not a huge Big Thief fan, but I'm so glad
It's
that they
not,
exist.
yeah,
I'm so glad they exist. But like
iconic, yeah.
but that she's always writing.
Yeah.
We're not really that way. We tend to just
Yeah.
because of what all the other hats we have to wear and
Yeah.
all the other jobs we have to do around the band
Mhm.
that we write for projects. It's like
Yes.
it's time to write for the next album. So it's like, okay, we really need to set the time aside and we're only gonna write. I wish it was the other way. I wish we could be writing all the time, but we really can't
I think
afford
it's
to.
just like it's a way of compartmentalizing, because like voice memos will come like to me, or like little bits sometimes come to you, like where you'll just like be like, oh, that's a melody and some words are coming through and you record it. Like that's, how any songwriter would be, that they would have,
Yeah.
thousands of voice memos in their phone. And that's happening all the time. And some phases are more dense than others. But like the ones where you're like actually going in and you're like, we're
And starting to
arranging a
demo,
song.
yeah.
I feel like I need the compartmentalization to be like, this is what we're doing for this week, because there's always something else for us to do. Like whether it's, doing online business stuff, or like arranging what our next tour will be, or just
I
maintaining all the
think
social media shit, like
yeah.
all of that. No one else is doing that for us.
Mm.
So I need to like make a rule for myself. Like this is the most important thing is music right
It's
now.
time to go do the next record.
Yeah.
Um, I think I've heard Sheryl Crow say that too.
Oh,
That she's like a
Oh, right.
project-based writer.
yeah.
Oh, okay. like you
Like
guys.
yeah. I could be wrong about that, but I think
Yeah.
it was her.
I would more just like more chunks of time.
Yeah.
That's really what I want. I don't think I need to be doing it every day.
No, and in the way your lifestyle is, it wouldn't make sense to like it would almost be constant chaos if you're like writing all the time and
Yeah.
driving and moving and doing social media and trying to figure out where you're going. Like it would make that makes sense that you need to compartmentalize things in order to sustain the lifestyle that you want to have and keep
And let
doing.
the released
Yeah.
music have a chance because
Exactly.
we're not as like I accept the fate of today's music climate. You know, like you
Mhm.
can wish it away all you want, but I think over time it's just broken me down that I'm like, if you want to do it, you have to do it this way, like of releasing and marketing. Like, and luckily I'm such a visual person, it doesn't feel as painful to me as it is to other people.
Mhm.
But that is just a reality that we don't want it to we try to view it as another art form, like with the videos and things, and viewing that as a good thing, but that it takes almost an equal amount of time. So,
It does. Even on the music journalism side, I'm starting to realize the promotion is just as much as the writing.
Yeah.
yeah,
It takes pretty
Oh
much the
man.
same
yeah,
amount of time.
This is, and I've heard this said, but I never believed it because I thought that the arts are a meritocracy, where if you're good at writing and you're good at making good shit on your blog or whatever it is that whatever your outlet is,
yeah.
like the cream will rise to the top. And actually, with this album, I'm changing my tune completely. I heard it said that whatever your budget is for creating the thing, you have to have at least an equal amount for
For promotion.
marketing.
Yes,
And I
yes.
was kind of like, no, because if it's a meritocracy, then that need not apply. But now I'm like, no, you got to pay to play.
Yeah.
You got to dump money into
And of
marketing.
course, you need
Yeah,
art that is authentic and true and not just shilling
for sure.
bullshit. But
Right.
if you think that's gonna be all you need,
The world we live in is not a
so,
meritocracy, and you got to
yeah.
pay to play. That's what we're learning way too late in the games. Is like that
But
we have to be setting money aside to get it out to people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you guys are good enough where like it happened to me this year. I saw your stuff. It was probably marketed to me somewhere on the interweb, and I was like, this is really, really good. How have I not heard of them before?
Yeah,
But it's
right.
like
That's the story of our life.
you still have to have the talent for when you get to when the fan gets to you,
When they arrive,
they
yeah.
love
100%.
you.
Yeah.
A
And
lot of
I mean,
people.
it's taken us to, it's taken us to this point. We've been doing the band for 8 or 9 years, and we were in bands before that to even get to the point where we had a budget to market it to you. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
for 8 years, we've been like, when are
This
we
is
gonna
the
get our fair shake?
I know this
You
is the
know,
first album we've done that for. One Stop Shop, we didn't spend any.
there was
There
no
was maybe
marketing
some
budget.
YouTube
Kidding
ads
me?
jangly done, but
Are you kidding
everything
me?
was just organic, which is, I think, shows the merit of the album itself. Because then seeing now of like, oh, people are like, it didn't even occur to me that people were
It
like
cracks me
paying
up.
for ads for an
Yeah.
album. Like tour ads were something different, and we only started at the very end of our journey
Hmm.
of like with One Stop Shop's album cycle. Like we only did tour like even thought about that at the end of it, and we're like, wow, that really makes a difference. And then now with the album, we're like, oh my God.
It cracks me up when you see these bands that are signed to mid to large tier like indie labels. Um, and I'll see it without mentioning names. I'll see it about like, oh,
Don't
like
make me name it.
it's spread by word of mouth and it's like feels really organic. And it's like, bitch, you
Yeah.
like you are not pulling the wool over my
Right.
eyes.
And it's
We
like
know.
good. I'm sure it's good, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there has to be an element, and especially for the labels involved.
And
We
then
know there was
but then
budgets.
just
Like I know we're aware. Yeah.
trying to weave the narrative that that's not what you're doing and that a band is blowing up because they're organically it's like that's not true. It's never been true. It's never ever been true. You've
I'm
always had to pay to play, going back to the 60s and the 50s. Like,
Mm.
facts. Beatles had big budgets. Rolling
yeah,
Stones had big budgets.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
curious for you guys. I want to stay in this one-stop shop spot for one more beat.
Yeah.
Where do you think fans at that point were discovering your music? Like when they would see you at the merch table at your shows, what were they saying to you? And like, oh man, I've loved you since X, or I really enjoy this song. I heard it this way.
Up until the past year,
Well,
18 months, it was not Spotify because we were dead on Spotify.
well, One Stop
Like,
Shop it was way better because we
yeah.
had the first one with the label, and that one did like horrible on
Well,
streaming.
all of our related
Yeah.
artists were like Caribbean or like West
Because there was
African.
some like DJ that was called Twen, like, and it was
And our algorithm was all
and
fucked
it
up.
was like combined our profiles.
So for years, we just felt like so invisible because we're
Yeah.
like, we're not getting, the algorithm is not looping us in with other
Yeah.
bands like us.
But
And
that
like,
did change with One
yeah,
Stop
but it took
Shop.
like 3 years
It
of
took a
One Stop
while,
Shop
and
being out.
like songs like Ha Ha Home or One Stop Shop, which was the last song, but I would say with Ha Ha Home, it did get some like organic growth
Hmm.
on its own where it would just, but it was not immediate. Like it was released, I think, at the end of the year in like 21 or something. And then
Yeah.
only till 22 did it start to like we were like, whoa, like the views are going up on the YouTube, like, all these things, and we didn't know what we were doing, but it was just kind of getting like picked up on its own.
And that point of and we consciously said that we're like, if we make good shit, it will grow.
Yeah, we took like a
And
chance. It was kind of scary to
that was
do
a
coming
conscious
out of
thought. Yeah.
COVID, and we're like, we don't really have a lot of money, but we can like, we're just gonna do it and just hope it comes back to
And
us.
that reiterates the idea that we are slow burning late bloomers.
Yeah,
Like
while I do things.
we've never
Uh,
had a song just come out the gate.
no,
Like we've never had a single big break or viral moment.
no,
It's just
but
bubbling all the
that
time.
was more natural to my nervous system or something, and now I just feel like I can just truck along forever doing this. Like there's no obstacle that could stop me. Like, and there's no growth that I think would scare me. Like it's just kind of like,
You can ignore us all you want. We're still gonna be here.
yeah.
Like you cannot deter us. Yeah.
Or I know we can make stuff under any circumstance, so that's gives me confidence.
Well, slow burn, late bloomers. Now that you know the formula, I feel like now it's just a matter of time before you like blow up, blow up.
Mm.
So if this day
Oh.
happens, this interview, if somebody's watching this, it happened.
Yeah, you
And
predicted it. You heard it here first.
you heard it here first, but also because I do want to emphasize the music is that good. It's really, really good. It's so fun to listen to.
Yeah.
I had Godlike in my head all day. I was playing it a lot. My coworkers knew it. Before like a call would happen, I'd be playing it because I was like, guys, I have to get into the mood. I'm going to talk to these people. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, nothing, nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's about I'm also curious like how important has word of mouth been for you guys as a band or like community? Is that something where if there are other bands that you know that do the nomadic lifestyle, like has community helped in any way?
I think so many bands have helped us,
Mm,
like, and are the reason why we're at the stage we're at now. Like saying with Ron Gallo taking us out on that first national tour, like, who's to say if we had the bill, like, or the numbers or whatever to actually warrant doing that. So that was such a nice, even if it's a first of three, that helps to like get your sea legs on the road and to know what's happening and to be exposed to it. And then after that, it was just another series of other bands recognizing us and taking us out on the road. And that it just always helps. And
It's never really been about a manager or a label like hooking it
oh,
up with a favor or anything. It's always been respect between
other
another
bands
artist and us, and then them giving us a
telling
break.
their manager or their booking agent to ask us. Like,
Yeah.
so it was never, or just asking us directly. And even when we had a booking agent in the past, like we have one now that's our good friend, but before we had like one that was like on a huge agency, they did literally nothing for us.
Yeah,
We
top dog
we
agent,
just
but
brought them like
you gotta ignore
and
them.
they would take 10% of it, which was so stupid. And we only learned that the hard way, that we're like, oh wait, you didn't get any of these tours for us. Like it was just a band liking us. So that happened a shit ton before COVID, where it would just be like a band like being like, I want to bring you on the road. And that we were so thankful for that, and a very
I mean, we've had multiple instances where bands that like huge bands that will sell out theaters and even arenas, um, will, like they'll tell us, they'll be like, at rehearsal, we just fucking sit on the floor and watch Twen videos. Like we are the biggest
it's
fucking
so
fans, blah,
nice.
blah, blah. And it's so surreal because like we're playing 100 cap club.
Thanks.
And then
That's
there's
so
this
nice.
artist that's selling out arenas and they're being influenced by our shit. And that's like kind of a bitter pill. I mean, it's a huge honor and
Yeah.
we're very thankful, but it's also a bitter pill to swallow because we're like, well, fuck me. How about you can I get some of that?
But like they can't do the band themselves can't do anything. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
their team where you're
That's just
like, why
fate.
can't you like
Yeah.
manage us too or do that too? But
Mhm.
it's just I don't know, it's our karma or something, and I think it makes us better in the end. So I've accepted it at this point. Um Yeah.
It's coming. That almost gives me like Sylvan Esso vibes, the way what you guys are describing right now, because I've seen them at festivals, and like the headliner will go like, "I'm here to see Sylvan Esso," and I was like,
Uh,
Oh yeah.
"Well, they're not
But
big. They're not that big," and you're like,
yeah.
yeah,
you're
exactly.
doing an
Yeah.
arena. So, okay, that's so interesting. Okay, let's get to Fate Euphoric. We have the new album out. How has this album cycle felt? I know we're still in early days. We haven't had the big tour for it yet, but so
Yeah.
far, how has it felt compared to One Stop Shop? Are you feeling more optimistic, less optimistic?
I would say more.
More
This
optimistic.
past tour in November, it was just 13 shows.
Mhm.
So the Fate Euphoric tour is four leg. It's a big
Yeah,
60 city tour divided into four
big
legs.
old
So we
chunk.
just did like one. Yeah.
And that was through, I guess, Nashville and like Southeast and a little bit of Midwest. And those shows felt very different than other shows that we've had. It was just so consistent every single night where it would just be like a full room, people like singing along, like
If we weren't
it's
selling the
great.
shows out,
Yeah, we
they
sold like
they
three, and then
they
which was
were
new for us.
they were just shy, or these rooms are full rooms, and that's a
Yeah,
new thing for us because
which
a lot of times you'd be playing a 200 cap room and there's 50, 60,
yeah, or
70, 100 people
when it
there.
goes
Yeah.
like this, we would have like markets where we're like we can sell 300, and then ones where it's 40 or something. And so you don't really tours would feel a little funny. They
I
feel a
mean,
little
we
like
showed up
lopsided.
in Little Rock, Arkansas, thinking we'd sold 17 tickets on a Tuesday night, and then we
Yeah,
ended up selling it out.
yeah,
The
we
place was
never
packed.
played
We're like,
there
what the fuck?
before.
It's a Tuesday, and we've never even played Little Rock. What the fuck?
So I can only
So
hope that'll be the indicator of another legs, but
that's very exciting. That's a
yeah,
nice place to be, especially after so many years. We're like, yeah, damn straight.
because we
About time.
just feel like we can actually
Yeah.
like do like we're there to do. Like we can bring the energy and do it all if the room's there. So
That is
it's
one of the
great.
beautiful things about like if you are a band or an artist that's lucky enough to get signed into the machine
Mhm.
and opportunities are thrown your way early on, like an artist is only able to grow and to develop skills and develop certain what's the word, intuitions about
Mhm.
how to do your job well if you're given those opportunities to feed off of the energy of a big crowd.
Mhm.
Like the idea that you should learn how to work a big crowd by playing in front of 50 people a night for 10 years is like you don't you can't get uh
But weirdly
you
enough,
know
though, we've done a lot of support tours where it will be like, 1,000 to the biggest one was like 7,000. And then we did Red Rocks, and those are fucking easier to me anyway.
Yeah.
I think they're easier to do a huge crowd than it is to have like 20 people in the audience and you're like, okay, we're gonna have fun. Like, like, and it
Yeah,
doesn't
but
feel
that
sad.
backs up what I'm saying, which is that like you're only able to work that huge crowd because you're given the opportunity to. And
What
like the first time you went out in front of 5,000 people, you didn't know what to
you
do.
build
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
something happens when you
Yeah.
have to deliver at those, if it's like and I'm so thankful to the people that do come. But it's funny, we had a phase after we did a huge, like, it was Rainbow Kitten Surprise, we did like a huge support tour, and people would
Nice.
come from that tour to our headline and they'd be like, we thought you guys were bigger. Like they would like be at the show like ready to like rock, and there would be like 30 people there, and we're like, I don't know, like I don't know what to tell you, like
It's so dissonant for them because
yeah.
they look online and they think we're a big band and then they come and they're like, "Oh, you're a small band." Yeah.
It's the internet like fallacy. It makes everybody look like they're on the same level because
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're looking at the same photos on TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah.
totally. And completely dependent on a different town. Like if I think that happened a lot, like we were in like Mississippi and other places we haven't played that much, and they'd be like, wow, there's like not that many people here. And like they would feel so like crazy that they could just like hang out with us, and we're like, yeah, like hi, we're just here, and it's very different from like a show in Chicago or something. So, but now that's starting to feel much more consistent where every show is the show, which I like.
Hell yeah. Talk to me about the making of Fate Euphoric. I lost my mouse, so I don't even know how to get my questions anymore. We're gonna do this off the top of my head. For making
We
the
can also you can take a beat if you want to find it.
No, no, I got it. I don't like cutting up the interview. For the most part, it kind of just flows.
Yeah, yeah,
I
for
cut the beginning and the end, but other than that, the audience will see me talk about this part. For Authenticity's sake. No, for making the album though, in terms of songwriting, I identified a couple themes, but I kind of before we get into the themes, what was the process like? Like when did you take out time of the year to make this album? And did it change over time when you were making it, or did you know from the beginning this is going to be the album title, this is going to be the name?
No, that never happens. It's always at the end. And it kind of reveals itself, you don't know what you're making at the beginning. And we had we started writing as soon as right after One Stop Shop came out. But, we wrote a lot of bad songs. And some things became like the EP that we released, and other things, we thought were going to be on the album, but then you listen to it for a month and you're like, no, this isn't good enough. And so then you just keep on going back and having those writing chunks. So I would say the majority of like the full-on writing, though they may have sourced bits that were older, like riffs or little vocal melodies, harvested from older songs. It started probably a year ago, like in the winter, with a chunk of time in St. Louis, actually. And then we had chunks in Florida and New Hampshire to kind of polish them in
Yep,
different
that's
ways.
true.
So it was kind of in all three of those places, they would have iterations where you maybe would finish a couple arrangements of a couple songs, and then at the next one you would do a couple more, and then the next one was like the polishing and recording.
Yeah, I can think of like several riffs that I think this is probably more true for the bits that I started that were like back
Yeah.
from the One Stop Shop era that
Yes.
took until this past year for us to actually
Where you
get
always
your
liked it, but you're like, that song never worked out. Like
yeah.
it always felt weird. And then you just like run out of time, or you see the collection of songs like it was One Stop Shop, and it was like, well, that was it.
Yeah, like for instance, Tap Dance in Limbo, the opening track, the music for that,
Yeah.
pretty much all the music for that was a separate song. It had different lyrics and
No,
there's no bones about it.
yeah.
Yeah. So that was like that was an entirely different thing that never worked out, but that goes
Yeah.
back like 2 years. Chase You is another one. The groove, the drum loop, the bass
Bass, yeah.
line, that goes back 2 years.
Hmm.
But it took until this year for
And
me
it
to
had
write the
like
guitar
written
part.
completely different things
Yeah.
for it. And I was just like, oh, I hate this. And then you just like completely scrap it, and then you just start over again.
Same thing with Godlike. Actually, that loop goes back 2 years.
Yeah, that's happened to some you get right away, and then some like I'll come up with a voice melody and I'll be like, this rocks. And then like I try to bring it to Ian, and like we can't find the chord progression, we can't find the riff, it's like not working. And then maybe later, then like a year or something later it'll happen. And that'll be the same for Ian. If it'd be like, oh, that's a really cool guitar riff, like, okay, I'm gonna write some stuff for it. And I'm like, I hate what I'm doing to this song. And then
Yeah.
2 years later, then you're like, okay, something happens and you know what to write for it now.
Wow.
Late
Yeah.
bloomers, I
How do
guess.
you, I know, late bloomers might be the name of this interview. It's such a it's gonna keep
Yeah.
coming back up. For songwriting, how do you guys divide up the songwriting? Is it like Paul and John where he's like, this is my song, this is
No.
my song?
It's
Or do you,
closer to Mick and Keith,
No.
honestly, which
is it?
I've heard.
Oh, I don't know their
So
process,
like
but
Keith usually
uh,
does like he'll do or not anymore, but historically he would have a riff or something and he
oh,
would kick it over to Mick and Mick does all the songwriting,
oh,
you know?
oh, I see. Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
he'll
Yeah,
come up with the lyrics and the motif and the melodies and shit.
yeah,
And then vice versa. A lot of times Jane will have a download where she'll the melody, the
yeah,
theme, the lyrics, the hook, that'll come to her and then she'll sing it to me and
yeah.
then I'll start playing
Well,
along
it's
to it.
usually like only, it's not like in a super long format. It might be just a verse and like
Yeah, a hook.
and the
Enough
pre-chorus into the chorus, and then
enough where we look at each other and
yeah,
we're like, "Oh, yeah, I
this
know
is the
what you're doing."
song. And
Yeah.
then it's really
Yeah.
fun to fill it out with like a bridge or other parts that you couldn't have dreamed of in that initial download. Um,
A lot of times like Jane will she'll have this thing and she'll start singing it to me and I'll be like like, trying to find around like where
yeah,
is this going to be? Is this major? Is this minor? Is
that
it
can go a
like
lot of different
what
ways.
what mode is this in? And it's like and then we'll butt heads about it. I'll be like,
Yeah,
"Well, I'm just
like
working this out. Like, give me a second." She's like, "No, that's
this
not it. That's
thing.
not it. That's not it." I'm like, "But just give me a minute. Just give me a minute." And then she's right. And then I'll check my thing and then we'll start over. and then we'll
But
say,
then
oh yeah,
sometimes
now we
it's
got it.
something I never could have predicted with whatever I came up with first, but I like it better than whatever I was thinking in my head. So it goes both ways.
And like I was a songwriter like before I met Jane, like in my youth, I
Oh
would
yeah.
write songs and stuff. But that is I've atrophied on that because
Mhm.
I'll get back to it.
no, I really don't because I feel like Jane speaks for me. So like everything that Jane does, I like it's better than what I would do anyway. So I like
I
her.
think Berkeley College of Music injured
Yeah,
your
yeah,
your
yeah. I
but
lost
or
confidence
it's
as
like
a
knowing too
songwriter.
much. It also helps that I'm kind of stoopy when it comes to music theory. I don't know what's going on. It's all very subconscious and intuitive, and I can't really it's very interesting how the music fits in my brain. I'm able to hold a lot of different melodies and like counter melodies and rhythms in my head, but they're all literally based on humming and dictating. And I don't really have those rules in my head of why something would work or doesn't work. So that sometimes leads to some interesting things that if Ian will tell me like, oh, that's not maybe what would usually come after if you had knowledge of that music theory. And I think that helps. So I've almost kept that intact, though I think I could learn something. I almost like
And
don't.
I encourage her because like I know what
Yeah.
happened to me, you know.
Yeah.
I remember like when I used to make music from a completely sort of like musically ignorant place and it was great and it's the magic, you're living in the
It
magic,
does.
you're a vessel, you're a
It does feel
vehicle.
magical, I have to say. And
And
it has
I'm kind of just like I'm happy to take on that role where I can sort of I can calculate and arrange things in a way with the education I have and not allow Jane to be encumbered by it or weighed down by it. Be like, you live in your magical fucking mystical place,
and I'm
and I'll put like pen to
and
paper,
I'm
so
so
to speak,
thankful.
you know?
Yeah.
Um,
And dictating it. Like you were able to
yeah.
anything that I would hum or do, he can just immediately play.
And it depends like it depends on the batch of songs or the project, but
Yeah.
a lot of times I take on more of a producer role.
But there's so many riffs, a lot of riffs like
Yeah.
come from you specifically. Ones
Yeah,
that
that's
you're
true.
like, oh, I haven't written anything good in a while, and then you just come up with like a sick riff based on a chord progression of
Yeah.
something we're writing. So it
I'm
happens.
giving you the fucking inside scoop here because so many people will be, like so a bunch of people will ask me and I never remember the answer to it, but in this moment I'm remembering where it's like people
What?
people like come up to me after shows or whatever and they're like, "What are your guitar influences? Do you like Johnny Marr? Like are you a big Smiths
Maybe
guy?" And I'm like,
it's just because he
and
looks like, yeah.
yeah, I guess so. Or are you Stone Roses
Same
guy? And the
haircut.
truth is that
Yeah.
I never was. I never learned any of their songs on guitar. They were not an
No,
influence. I like them very much. They're wonderful. But like it
totally.
did not
Yeah.
inform my guitar playing. And I will tell you, there are the three biggest influences for the riffs
Hmm.
Hmm.
are Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, in that every single Led Zeppelin song has its own identity, its own its own riff hook.
Yeah.
Like, you know, uh and so when I was a kid learning it, like that really went in. It's like every song it is not allowed for two songs to have riffs that are similar. They've got to have their own identity. Each song is its own
Yeah.
character, you know? So like so that was an important thing. And then Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. I learned all the Blink-182 riffs. And though that rule is less true because a lot of his riffs bleed together, they're all like lullaby, they're all catchy hooks.
Yeah.
And so those two
Easy to
guitar players growing up,
identify.
like that embedded into my brain, like every song has to have its own unique riff. So, but I never think to tell people that when they ask.
I feel like you never even tell me that.
Yeah, yeah.
Knowledge
I'm
to
just
me
remembering
too.
it in this moment.
That's
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's a amazing combination, Led Zeppelin and Blink-182.
Yeah.
I could hear it in your music though, because it has kind of like the pop sensibilities of Blink-182, but the complexities of Led
Yeah.
Zeppelin
Mhm.
and then adding it with Jane's unconventional, let's call it melodies. I think that's also what like the music, the melodies with the actual production underneath makes your sound stand out. Because like so I'll listen to multiple albums a day just to
Oh
like
yeah.
catch something like interesting, and that's where I found you guys. I was like, whoa, this doesn't sound like the other two albums I heard that day.
Oh,
Yeah,
What is
sick.
yeah.
Okay.
this?
That's the
And then
goal. That's
and
what
then
we
you
want.
just yeah, you want to stand out, and you guys have like your own sonic identity, which I really like. Was the songwriting easier for this album versus One Stop Shop? It sounds like you guys are very like in sync in terms of.
But that took years.
Yeah, it took, I would say that the
Yeah.
songwriting was easier. The production was a little tougher this time around, but I think that was just a workflow and workload issue. Because once you have like tours and things on the books, before in the past, we like didn't have as much going on. So you had like more time to finish the damn record, whereas now it was like juggling all of them at the same time. But the writing, the first record, like Awestruck Wave, that was it was not written this way. And there was a lot of things that I didn't understand about myself. Maybe Ian didn't understand about him, and we didn't
That
understand how to
record should really
communicate.
be called Dumbstruck because there's no lyrics on it and we didn't know what the fuck was going
No, I
on.
didn't know what. Yeah, I didn't even get to the phase where I like had lyrics. So I was so kind of enamored. I was stuck in the phase where I was so enamored with like different melodies. And since there was already kind of, I never thought about Cocktail Twins at all in that sense, even though obviously it was fed back to me of like this is like that.
Yeah, I
I
hear it.
I just viewed it as, hey, if a label's interested in me, why should I change? That's what it was kind of. I don't know, but I knew that I could do better. And luckily, I got to the place where I knew how to channel the lyrics at the same time as the melodies, because I don't really sit and write them down or anything. It all comes through the melodies. And now I'm just better at, I can just do it better now, where if I'm coming up with the melody, I can think of more of what I'm actually trying to say, rather than it not being words.
Yeah, sorry, to contextualize this for anyone that's listening that doesn't know, Awestruck, Jane's vocals are all over it, but she's not speaking in the English language,
There's
right?
words, and there's things that I feel like I'm saying, but are not like you, they don't make any sense. Or like they're not, they're phrases that maybe
It's
they don't,
abstract.
if you
Yeah.
wrote it on paper, you'd be like, I don't really understand what this is saying, but they felt real to me. And so that's all I could go on
And
at the
also like
time.
it took us a long time. I remember we were in Key West because we were writing and that was kind of like our first thing. And
Yeah.
we realized like
True.
uh you can like I
Yeah.
think both of us intuitively felt like there was work to do between us,
Yeah. In
but
order to
that a lot of
communicate.
times we were butting heads because we didn't quite know like how to communicate ideas to each other. And that
Yeah.
like I remember it was a big epiphany when we finally like found words for it that like Jane needs to hear like Jane will sing something and I'll play on acoustic guitar and she cannot hear what I can hear when I'm strumming that acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
She needs to hear it literally played out in a demo. Like I can extrapolate from an acoustic guitar part what the bass would be doing or what the drum would be doing and
Yeah,
I can
and I'm like, this
hear.
sounds like an Americana tune. Like, I need to know what, like, at least semi what kind of tone, or if you're gonna play it in like a different rhythm or in a more, a riff type line rather than these chord progressions. I need to hear that while it's happening, or else I can't. At least
Give
at the beginning.
feedback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
give you. It would be like, yeah, that works,
Does
but
that
not.
make sense? It's
That
like
makes sense.
as a musician, especially with an education, it's like I can strum an acoustic guitar and I can basically like map out the sheet music and the arrangement and I can imagine what this is going to be when I take it over to electric guitar. But
Yeah.
if I'm sitting doing that for Jane, like she's not hearing what I'm hearing,
And
you
that
know?
would bring to a
Like
lot of stop, like it would just stop, because then I'd be like, this
she's
isn't
like, no,
right.
no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
like
Get
this
the fuck
doesn't
out.
sound right.
Yeah.
And that led us to a way of songwriting that is usually demoing hand in hand, which is good and bad because it sucks to have a computer near you. But in order to have a bass groove looping so that you can riff on top of it, or I can sing, is amazing, and it's really helpful to create new parts. So
Mhm.
if you have a bass line that was made for one part, if you just keep it on loop, well, then now I can probably write another part to that, another melody or something, just because the loop kind of puts you in a trance or whatever.
And a lot of times too, like I'll start like if Jane has it, if she's singing something at me and I'm trying to find accompaniment for it, like a lot of times it's kind of like more about process of elimination than it is about finding the right thing right off the bat. It's
Yeah.
like I want to find out what this isn't. Like if this isn't supposed to be in a minor key and maybe I have that inkling, like that's the thing I'm gonna try first to make
Yeah.
sure like this isn't a minor key song, this is a major key song.
And I'll be like, oh,
And it's like, well, no, 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 don't judge what I'm
recoil.
doing.
Yeah,
Like, don't judge what I'm doing yet because I'm kind of like I'm making all these like
yeah.
I'm micromanaging all of the options.
Mhm.
So
and kind of like eliminating what it's not going to be.
And my intuition's very immediate. Like it's like yes or no. Like there is no like, let me see if that works. It's like if if I don't
Yeah.
think it's right, like
I
it's
hate it.
not right.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
know that's it. You're gonna have to convince me another way, but I can't be convinced. So it's a
Out,
interesting.
So
outstanding.
to circle back to your question, like by the time we started writing for Fate, we've ironed a lot of that out. So even though we
Yeah.
still butt heads and argue and we'll have
It does
meltdowns,
happen. It does
like
happen.
we do have a bit more of a process worked out.
Know how to communicate way better.
And when it comes to, that's so fascinating. When it comes to then kind of hammering down on the theme or like the ideas now of the music, where does the connection come there? Because I'm hearing like a lot of escapism, talks of fate, talks of destiny, talks of
Yeah.
like it's religious, there's some religious themes in here. So was that like, hey, I'm thinking about this, what do you think about this? Or is it like both of you thinking about this idea of escapism and fate and
I think it's obviously we're talking to each other all the time.
yeah.
So it's not like something where we go into like we want to make a song about this. I think
Mhm.
that almost never happens. Sometimes we have project ideas of like I want to make a song about this. Well, we just did that with like a Christmas song. But and we have some ideas tinkling around where we thought, oh, it might be nice to channel some ideas through the lens of music. But for this album, that is not at all. For most of the like what we view as like the albums, we don't do it in that way at all. It's just what we're
It's
talking about.
basically our daily conversations and what and our
Yeah.
worldviews. So for instance, like 2 summers ago, Jane was reading a book called
Dollar for a Dream.
which is I'll take this one out as best as I can,
Yeah.
correct me. But it's basically the roots and the origins of the lottery system in the Catholic Church,
Well, no, in the
or
US.
or it's
Just
in
in every
oh no,
just
well it goes back to the Church of England.
It does. Well, it goes back to like colonies because when you would have colonies that would go over to what was going to be the US, the Americas,
No, you
they,
when you had people in England coming
well, I
over
know
to the
what would be
colonies,
the
you said it
Americas, what would,
backwards. Yes.
what you have colonies starting, they would, to fund them, it would be lotteries. And a lot of how major like buildings or colonies were started or having boats that went over there was people putting in a lottery and they would think they would win, but that's how you would like fund. And that's how a lot of things were funded in that medieval time. And then that's like what led to kind of our modern day US lottery and just like the money that's used for it. And I was just fascinated by like, where's all this money going and happening? And, you have like in England, you have so many movies that are funded by the lottery, like arts and things. And then you have like, it's a big political point of like where lottery money is going to. And a lot of people view that as like this last fail safe of like, well, let's just use lottery money for education or something, even though it's not actually enough. So just this
And,
concept of
and
lotteries
then you have like the hypocrisy of the church where gambling is a sin, you know?
and
But it's
that,
like
but it was fine,
it's
just
so
for that.
crazy. It's kind of like
Yeah.
usury was a mortal sin for 1,000 years in the
Yep.
Catholic Church, you know? It's like, but now our entire economy is based on it, and our heads of government are saying that they're
I know
Christian.
you
I mean,
can't.
it's just you cannot make this shit up.
So that was in my like I was thinking a lot about that and I was viewing it more as like a graphic design project. I was fascinated with like all of the graphic design around lotteries and Keno and like all the things that you see in gas stations and stuff. But it then turned to just thinking about this idea of fate, chance, and this kind of mentality that you get in like that like the people there'd be a lot of accounts in this book of the people that play the lottery every day and how it's this like, well, it could happen any day. And it gives you this, it's kind of sad, but it gives you hope. And but then everything is technically up to chance, it feels like. And when really big, horrible things are happening, like right now in like political systems and world order, that you're just like, whoa, this is so fucked. Like, how did it get here? And it doesn't seem like it can leave. Chance is the only thing that feels safe maybe because even if it feels so random and awful that it happened, I like it there is a downfall somewhere, like it has to be. So that's where we got to this
I mean,
wheel.
yeah, and that cross-pollinates with all the other shit we're into, and that's like, for it's less current, but it's in the 2 or 3 years past where like, um, things we listen to just and read about with free will, like does free
Right.
will exist? Are we all fated? Like we've both forayed into Zen and Vipassana meditation and
Yeah.
things where like you observe your own mind and you observe all of that shit makes its way into the music, It's like
Hmm.
I can say that I have free will and I can say that I'm doing this thing, but really, am I actually just fated to do that because of all the preconditions that led me to this moment to make this decision? Are
Mhm.
you with me?
I'm with you.
So it's like if themes of religiosity or fate or philosophy come across in the music, it's less conscious and more just because that's what we're talking about. I mean,
Right.
we were big fans of Andrew Yang in the 2020 election because he had like a holistic
It's
approach to
like
a
the
lot of these
last
issues.
politician I actually cared about.
Yang
And
Yang,
he's so
yeah.
great and is so great.
Loved him.
And so a lot of his things around human-centered capitalism, like those sorts of themes make their way into the
There's a lot of
music, I
yeah, a
think.
lot of what One Stop
Yeah.
Shop had in it too. But and I think maybe that's the jadedness of like having a hope and then it just being like, oh, we just ignored all of those problems and just went into this other direction that
We went
seems
with
more
the
destructive.
antithesis. Yeah.
That I think just to find joy within that and to find some sort of pleasure in the chaos because you have to keep on living, like it is
Mhm.
the only way that we found to deal with it. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not the one to say, it's only the thing that I know that how I'm coping.
I think yeah, that's a position a lot of like us millennials are in versus Gen Z, whereas millennials we had a little bit of hope and then it went into doomsday,
Yeah,
whereas Gen
right.
Z kind of aged up into the doomsday. So they're kind of
Yeah.
Right.
accustomed to it in a
Yes.
different way, which I find really fascinating.
Mhm.
I also see themes of like escapism. I'm thinking about like in the center, like breathe in divinity, savor my autonomy, or like finding escape in yourself or finding like peace in yourself. So
Mhm.
is kind of the outcome or the goal then to all right, fate is fate. I'm gonna let that kind of dictate the overall themes, but what can I do? Maybe it's finding places to find happiness and escapism, or what are your
Yeah,
thoughts there?
I definitely with the center that is, and I love that, I wish I could get it right in the center, but there's 10 songs, so you can't get it right in there. But the center is definitely that play on the Yeats quote of like, well, the center cannot hold, but the like anyone can find the center. And I think that is true, and it's kind of goes on what the comedian of people, I hate people, the systems, who's that guy?
I don't
Why
know
can't
what
I
you're
think of
talking
his
about.
name?
What are you talking about?
Um, famous comedian who's dead.
George Carlin?
Yeah,
I don't
George,
know.
yeah, George Carlin. I can't
Yeah,
remember his name
yeah.
for a second.
Legend.
That like has a bit. Do you remember the bit that's like about hating people, like hating like groups of people, but loving like individuals, but like
Oh
hate
yeah, yeah, yeah.
groups
No, his
together.
quote is like as soon as he's like in an individual in a person's eyes, you can see the whole universe. But the second that they start to clot together in two groups of three, groups of four, they start to change and they sacrifice the beauty of the individual for the shit behavior of the group. So like
Ian remembers quotes way better than me.
That
yeah,
was good.
So
yeah.
and so that is kind of what that's playing on. That I feel like we get to travel around, we get to meet a lot of people, and I feel like most of the people we meet are amazing. But then you see these big things that are only capable to happen with groups, and that is when the shit starts to get like weird and evil. And that is truly, it seems like the only thing that you do have control over is yourself. And I think this kind of viewing things in energy or systems, like nervous system, your own nervous system, if you can get your own nervous system and your own energy, like in this much more balanced or grounded or finding something to connect to the earth or whatever, I think that has to have a positive impact on the system at large. Like it has to. So if you have that in mind, then like it keeps that mission of making yourself feel whole or happy or whatever that means to you, a noble one for the collective.
And it's also
Yeah.
reflected on the cover. It's like, though it's a circle, it is duality. It's like as you go up, you also must come down.
Yeah.
And uh, everything is always getting both better and worse at the same time. Like it cannot be any other way. That is how the world works.
Yeah.
That is the law,
Yeah, filled
baby.
with paradox.
It's like duality and paradox is the way. So though, though the world might be appearing to fall apart, that is the one thing that's going to give you the opportunity to get yourself together. It's like you can't
Mm,
have one without the other. And I think
yeah.
like if you sit down with the LP and you go through the lyrics and you listen to the record and you look at the album cover, like it is an infinite world that you can go down with these lyrics. Like it works on the micro level, it works on the macro level, and like everything relates
Well,
back to the
yeah.
wheel. So
Even like my favorite song, God, like everything is on loop. I think
yeah,
Yeah.
everything
yeah,
is on a loop, I think you guys say.
Mhm.
So
yeah, yeah.
Yep, got it.
I hear it. It's so for the listener, PSA, if you're feeling a bit sad or lost or doomed, turn this album on. I feel like this has utility in that way.
Mhm.
It's not just fun to listen to, but it can give you a bit of hope by empowering you to do something or to be something that is different than what maybe the crap you're seeing in the world or online.
Absolutely. I
So
would hope so. That would be like my biggest hope that that's what this record would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for 2026, what are some of your goals for yourselves as a band? Like what do you hope to get out of this tour, the next couple legs of the tour? Are you going to places you haven't been to before, or is the venues a little bigger like you were referencing
There's
before?
a few new places, but I would say most of them are places we've gone before. I would say just very little can make us happy. If we just have like this, what we had in November, this like
Yeah.
consistent full rooms, I'm like,
I feel like you said that backwards. Like very,
oh,
very little can make us happy. I think you
yeah,
meant to
oh,
say we're very happy with very little.
oh
Like
yeah, yeah.
we're like
Well, yeah,
like
but
we're very content.
I knew what she meant. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
yeah, yeah, whatever. And so I think if we had even, anything of what November was like, that would be huge.
I feel like when you've been in it for as long as us, like we wouldn't be doing it still if we weren't in it for the right reasons. And so
Yeah.
the reasons tend to be a bit more it
We
feels
we don't get like huge, like I think we have ambition, but we don't get like, if I don't do this,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like kill myself. Like I don't have that feeling about anything anymore. I'm just thankful to like, can you work? Can you
Yeah.
make stuff? And we can do both right now. So I'm like, I'm I'm chuffed.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
if you're doing it for the ups and downs of success, it's like that's no good. The question is, can you work and can you carve
Yeah.
out a living? And can we escape having to go back to a job site? If so, then we're good to go.
We're fine.
Like
Yeah.
I'm still just trying to run
Yeah,
away from
but
that.
I would
So
love to get another
yeah,
album out or music out sooner than the interval between One Stop and Fate Euphoric. That's because it didn't exactly feel intentional that it felt because of workload stuff.
Got it.
It didn't feel like because there wasn't any music there. Like,
I mean, we put out a 4-song EP last year,
yeah, it's
so
true.
Yeah.
We did the EP.
and 4 music videos. Like we're making all this shit ourselves. So I
It's
think they were
true.
pretty prolific. But it's like, dude,
More. I
the
want more.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
like
one of my questions was about like you guys do these twin live albums. So is
Oh yeah.
that could be another, it could be like another EP, a live out. Is there like other live albums that you foresee? I think I saw two on your Bandcamp, which I listened to, and I was like, I'm a huge live album fan. Love a
Uh,
live album. So
yeah, me too. I think that
I'm
comes
not.
more from me than Jane. Jane doesn't give a
you're like,
shit.
no.
But
Carol.
I
Yeah.
absolutely would love to do 2 or 3 nights at a single venue and record
Yeah.
all 3 nights, take the best bits, especially because this is the best live band we've ever had,
It
and we now
really
have the
is.
best catalog to choose
Yeah.
from. So it's
Mm.
like I definitely think that's in the pipeline
I'm
for
not
sure.
opposed.
Yes. Let's go. Let's
And we are
go.
just a great live band, so it's like nice to know that about that
Yeah.
we can do that and to do it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you happen to be in New Jersey or New York or
Yeah.
Philly and you want to do two shows there and I can like
Yeah.
go to both, that would be cool
Yeah.
too. That would
Okay,
I
like
like
say,
that.
yeah.
that'd be sick. Okay. Yeah, well, I had a specific question. I was like Twin Live 25 question mark.
Yeah.
So
Now you're
that's
making us, it was in our tinklings of ideas, but now we'll actually get it on the books.
that is cool though to think about like because certain bands have certain thoughts their fandom does about how prolific they should be or shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Um So it sounds like you guys are kind of on different pages. Like you guys want to both be like prolific in terms of dropping multiple projects a year, but other times it's like, do you need to? Is it necessary?
There's always it to be prolific for prolific's sake isn't good. It's just because I like writing so much. It's very like it's probably the happiest I am during. I love touring, but like I'm like right, I get the most joy out of the writing process. The recording can be a little iffy, but the writing is the like when you have an arranged beautiful song, it's like oh, nothing feels better from
Mm.
And
nothing.
it's also like energizing.
Yeah.
Writing songs and pulling something out of nothing is
Yeah.
like
Like, what
the
is that?
most energizing thing, you
Yeah,
know? It just
it gives me so much excitement, and that's where like all of the like music videos or visual things come from is like when it actually feels like a song, visual things just immediately start coming to me, and then that's just like its whole world that I can fall into. So maybe it's just I'm desperate to have more of that, but it'll be fine. And yeah, there is a thing that I think you can put out an album too soon
Yeah.
after one because you don't, especially for us, since we don't have such a machine pushing us out, like we felt so much with One Stop Shop that like it took, like you're still finding it now.
Now,
yeah,
yeah.
One Stop Shop
So
is still growing.
It's
So
still
it's like
growing.
you have to give that the time of day. You can't just move on to like past five new albums where you don't even play that live anymore. Like,
it's
and we're
like
not
King Gizzard, who fucking needs that
and
many?
I was
You
a
know?
big King Gizzard fan on like two or three, and
Get
then
the
I was
fuck
like,
out of
I
here.
don't know what's going on anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I couldn't keep up. So I think you have to know what like a human brain and like what a collective of people can like handle.
Yeah.
And I think we're aware of that. So we're down for the balance of live writing. I think we can quell ourselves to not release an album like right away.
I fantastic. I conclude my twin specific questions, but we're not over yet. We have, as the listeners know, we're on the If Ever You're Listening podcast, so we have If Ever You're Listening podcast special questions that we ask all of our guests. They get, shifted a little bit for you guys because sometimes we're talking to writers, professors, musicians. So this will
Mhm.
be for musicians. So the first one is the easiest question, the funnest question, but there's two of you, so I like how we're gonna get two different answers. Hopefully, is what are you guys listening to these days?
Oh.
No, why do I go first?
because I
You're
don't
the lead singer.
because I don't know. I need time to think.
Would you like a single artist or would you like?
I was thinking at least one album per person.
One album. Okay.
Okay. I will put forth Lal Waterson. That's Lal Waterson. Lal Waterson was in a group, an English folk revival group from the 60s called the Watersons.
Ooh.
This would have been adjacent time period to like Fairport Convention or something like
Yeah.
this, you know, although they tend to be less folk rock and more like folk vocal acoustic group. Lal Waterson put out an album right before her death in the 90s
Mm.
Oh yeah, you've
called
been
Once
listening.
in a Blue Moon. It is her and her son on solo guitar. And it's so fucking cool because she is like quintessentially English. Her voice, she's an older woman.
Mm.
Her voice is smoky. It's like full of experience, and it's rare that you
It's
come across like I wouldn't say she's elderly, but an album from a woman, I guess she was maybe in her 60s or 70s,
yeah, but
like putting an album out where the songs are fucking
they're
slamming
really good.
and like just so interesting and cover so much diverse ground with just a solo guitar.
And they feel very
So like
wise. Feels very wise and like great for winter, I would say.
yeah, a very wintry album. It's just a really cool perspective. I highly recommend Once in a Blue Moon by Lal Waterson. Fucking slamming, dude. I think she died of cancer like a year or two after
Oh,
she made it. So it's cool.
Intense.
yeah.
Shoot, I had to look up what I was listening to because I don't remember. But I've been listening to a lot of NTS radio. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with NTS?
Yeah.
So I've been mostly handing over my curation to NTS, being like, help me out. I need to know what to listen to. And I've a DJ Tomasi from Iceland has all of these curated like ambient jazz fusion type of like playlists, but they feel very like encapsulated with like a season or a vibe. So he'll do like summer, winter, autumnal, and I think he just knows how to do cozy because he's Icelandic. So there was a song on there, Moon Over Miami by Percy Faith, that I Shazammed from it. That is a song to stick out from that. But Tomasi on NTS, I think is perfect for right
You
now.
got you got two moons.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
was moon and you
true.
moon,
I
and
didn't even
it's
like
the
think about
last
that.
full moon of the year tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Tonight.
Big full moon.
And we're about to put out a song called Yuletide Moon.
It's true.
So fucking let's go.
Four
Time.
moons.
It's all about the
Four.
moon.
Let's go. Full moon, four moon. The next question is about because I didn't have this for the longest time, and then I started adding it because I was like, people are talking about it so much. I am curious about how you guys are thinking about this. It's the big A word, artificial intelligence.
Oh.
Do you see it as a tool? Do you see it as competition? Do you see it as a collaborative, something that could be of a collaborative use? Kind of how has it affected you? What is your impression of it in the music industry currently? Does it not affect you at all?
I mostly just see it on stupid posts on Instagram. I feel like I don't, or like on TikTok, and you see a video and you're like, this is AI. And like some people know it and some people don't.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that I can know yet, besides, I don't know, political downfall that's happened. I don't know what else, or water being used. Like, I know there's horrible big things happening because of it. But personally, I can't say it's actually affected anything we do. And we definitely don't use it at all. I haven't used it for
I'm
anything.
very skeptical to fall into any of the narratives that I see presented about it. We were watching a documentary on Miyazaki last night,
Yeah.
and
And
his response to his studio saying, talking about how it could help them with their
with
with
the
their workload.
innovation.
He said, you can tell he's so distressed, and he
Yeah.
says, humans have lost confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
And to me, that like sums it up. It's just like I am I am not interested. Like that is not the game that I am playing in
Mm.
this life. Like I just don't care. Couldn't care. I'm not going to use it. I don't
Well,
like
it's
listening to
taking the
it. I'm
fun out
not.
of it because the
Yeah.
writing is the most fulfilling part. And we've even tried, I've looked into it like one time because we run our own business, we do everything. I was like, we've always been like, oh, once we had money for like an assistant or somebody to like help. And I looked into like AI assistant stuff and I'm like, this isn't even worth it. Like this isn't doing anything. Like it literally isn't. And I would much rather pay a person to do it and they'd
Mm.
be better at it. And I
I think it
just
should be relegated exclusively to the healthcare realm. I think
Mhm.
Yeah,
it
or
branching out to any other facet of life is humans giving up on
they've
themselves.
lost confidence.
Because the
Yeah.
thing is like this whole narrative about it being, relieving humans of mundane work or whatever, it's like that is fucking bullshit.
Mhm.
Mundane, like if it is all about the quality of your attention, a human being can find meaning in any activity.
Yep.
It is all about the quality of your attention. It's
Yeah.
I like backbreaking jobs, can that be automated away? Sure, that would be great to not to have fucking humans slaving away doing physical shit, but also like the human body is like meant to be used. Like I think
Yeah.
it's
Too
a
many
it's
things be too
it's like a false
convenient.
it's a
Yeah.
false fucking
Yeah.
premise. We need a different premise, I
And
think.
it's funny since the like since it's been in the lexicon of language, it's I've actually viewed when we were writing, it's been around for years now, but I think it's just like it's feeling like it's just all coming to a head or something. It's just taking over more things. I've viewed myself like in writing as like inputs and outputs. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, like, but when we're writing, sometimes I'm like, okay, if I'm like thinking about an idea and I'm like, I want this kind of idea to come across, and I'm listening to this loop, and then how do I push it out into a melody that feels authentic? And it feels like I'm the AI. That's how I'm viewing it myself. I'm like, I'm AI. That's what my brain's doing. And I don't think a computer could do it as good as me.
I don't think so either, man. And I think AI is a big bubble. I think the biggest concern about AI is not that it will replace humans. I think the idea or what we should be
destroy the
focused is
economy.
destroying the economy. I
Yeah.
think our entire economy is being propped up by these 6 or 7 companies who are dumping hundreds of billions of dollars into it. And the second that it's proved that large language model AIs are less effective than the
Well,
smaller,
I've already seen
yeah,
that they
like
have other LLMs that are way more efficient that don't cost as much money.
don't use
So
as
it
much
means that
water.
like all the Meta and the huge like AI founders have put in like an amount of money that's almost like unfathomable to the human brain. And in order to make it so it's worthwhile the investment that they put into it, they have to pawn it off on almost like the government or these large corporations to use it to make it worth their investment, which is not sustainable because so I think it's I don't know,
Yeah, man. I mean,
billionaires game.
it's a big Ponzi scheme, I think. I don't know
No,
if that's the right word, but it's a big bubble.
it's
It's just
about
a
yeah.
bubble.
I heard like they're paying that big six are like paying each other because right now it's not profitable.
Right,
Yes,
right.
and
And
it
then,
and
and
it
then
will
claiming it as
and it
profit.
will never
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
as profitable as the amount of money they put in because it was just a crazy amount of money that
yeah.
was
You're not.
never should have been
And now
spent
they're
together.
just trying to save face. Look, I'm no expert in it, but I'm hesitant to act like it's as big a deal as the internet or social media is making me feel like it is. Like
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
come
know.
across it in my daily life. I guess they're bringing Waymo to St. Louis here. Like
Mhm.
there are ways in which
Yeah.
I just don't the art thing, like fuck it. Fuck social media. If social media ends up flooded with AI art, then like get off of social media.
Well, then
Fuck
maybe
it.
it'll
Like
break down. Ooh, like
yeah,
I don't know.
Then the DIY will rise to the top.
like I don't see the problem. Like
Yeah,
fuck
and if
it.
people are listening to AI music, I mean
Then fuck them anyway. Yeah,
that's
I don't know.
that's their own problem.
I'm very
That's something
hesitant.
they have to
I'm
figure out.
very hesitant to get into like crisis mode or panic mode about the shit you see on
Yeah,
the internet because the internet's not a real place and
it
it
doesn't.
fucking doesn't matter.
But that's good though, because I also phrase that question in a way where I'm thinking like, because some artists using it to like augment their production
Yeah.
styles,
And
like
fuck
so
them. Fuck
it
them.
sounds like it's not connected to your guys' it's like production,
No,
promotion. You're not
no,
using AI for any of those. You're not outsourcing any of. Okay, that's
no.
really where I was
It's
getting.
all people that if we have a marketing person, they
Yeah.
we have a booking agent. Like we have people that we work with. We don't
I mean, the marketer has AI stuff where like it'll optimize like
well
what
see well
what
that's just the
ad it's
meta
getting.
suite. So you
Yeah,
still
yeah.
have to suck the dick of the devil, I guess, but paying somebody to do it, a person, a human being named Adam.
Yep.
So,
HI, human intelligence, not
yes,
artificial.
yeah.
Yeah. We
Okay.
try our best to be human-centered capitalists. We don't try and
Yeah,
extrapolate the most profit from our fans that we can. We
I
try and
would
keep
hope
everything
not.
affordable,
Just so we
and
can keep doing
we
what
are
we're
not
doing.
trying to get rich. We are just trying to make good shit, put it into the world, and have just enough to keep doing it. Like the goal is not to extrapolate wealth.
Yeah.
That's not what we're in it for.
I love it. And my final question is about advice. So, through your career up to this point, what has been the most valuable advice that has helped you in your work as Twen?
I've not gotten any advice, and I
We
don't do it. I
we are
don't give.
absent of mentors. That's one thing I wish we did have is somebody being like, you should do this.
For
We
for 10
never
years, for
It
10
can be
years.
like life from experience. It doesn't have to, it could be ex advice through experience. It doesn't have to be like
Well, okay,
verbal.
okay, maybe with the switch from into one stop shop and coming from the world of like music business, I guess the biggest one for me would be not waiting for someone to save you or waiting for someone to give you permission to do something
Yeah. The
that
cavalry's not coming.
yes, no one's coming, no one's like no label's gonna save you, no opportunity is gonna save you, no tour is gonna save you,
Yep.
literally no viral moment's gonna save you, literally nothing's going to save you. So you have to like get out of that mentality and have different reasons for why you're doing it and different goals and that just do it. If you don't wait for permission to think, oh, I'll release music or I'll write music or I'll do whatever when X, Y, and Z happens. And I think that was the hurdle we got over coming out of COVID because I think coming from a small label or something like you think, or we had a manager that was kind of telling us things that we didn't agree with, or maybe that we had to have a producer attached to it or had to do these things in a certain way. And it felt like it was preventing the making of the actual art, which is why we're doing it to begin with. So if you make the thing, and you can release it and figure that out. That's the easier part.
Here's my advice: stay the fuck out of my way. Go fucking. We need people to build the roads, and we need people to fucking make sure the water's clean. Go do something else because we've got it covered.
So two sides of the coin here.
It's the carrot and the stick. It's the carrot and the
Yeah.
stick. No, this was fantastic. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you so much, Jane. This is Twen, everybody. Listen to their music, Fate Euphoric. You guys are touring all over the country, so like odds are they're gonna come to a city near
Totally
you.
look it up. It's everywhere.
Please, please, please go see them on tour. I will do my best to see you on tour in 2026. And let us like where else can they find you? What else do you want to
Oh,
highlight?
Well, here my cell phone number is.
oh, yeah. Our address. No, but we don't really have
I'll
one.
put that.
But
I would just go check out the YouTube
I
channel
think that would be the best
and
way.
go to our website,
Introduction.
twenband.com.
Yeah, to see the dates.
Get off social media.
We
Oh
do have
yeah.
an email sign up list, though. We're trying to get better at it.
And get on. Oh, you guys should be on Substack. Oh, I would love to see
Oh,
that too.
yeah.
Well, we are on Substack, but like we are not on
No,
Substack.
no, no,
Twen
no.
is not
That
on
would be
Substack.
interesting,
Oh
though.
yeah.
Like we read Substack, but we don't put shit on it.
No.
Okay.
Oh,
That's a good place to have a newsletter.
yeah.
Awesome. This was fantastic, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Stanley. Yeah.
We appreciate you.